Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Kanada'nın en kaliteli okullarından Langara College'da eğitimi ve mezuniyet sonrası fırsatları Gregory ve Onur Bey'den dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Buyurun Onur Bey, sahne sizin.
Herkese merhabalar. Söylediği gibi Langara College'ın sunumu yapılacak. Langara College, Kanada'nın en batı sahilinde olan Vancouver şehrindeki en büyük devlet koleji. Burada 1, 2 ve 3 senelik ve birkaç bölümde de 4 senelik birkaç alanda bölümleri olan bir kolej. Lise mezunları da, üniversite mezunları da kendilerine uygun programlar bulabilirler. Çok büyük bir yelpazede bir program seçeneğine sahip. Vancouver çok güzel bir şehirdir. Kanada'nın en büyük, Montreal'den sonra İngilizce konuşulan ikinci şehri. Ben kendim Langara College mezunuyum. Uzun yıllardır da Langara College'la beraber çalışıyoruz. Uzun bir zamandır da beraber bu sunumları yapıyoruz. Webinarları ve öncesinde de fuarlara da katılıyordu Gregory Bey. Programı Gregory Bey devam ettirecek. Bütün sunumu yapacak. Yaparken siz sorularınızı burada chat ve sorular var. Questions, sorular yazan yere yazabilirseniz sonunda ben ve o beraber cevaplandırıyor olacağız. Bu sunum esnasında da bazı konularda benim yorum yapmam için katılımımı isteyecek. Sorularınızı biriktirin. Sonunda her şeyi cevaplandıracağız. Langara College çok iyi bir seçenek. İsterseniz üniversiteye devam etmek, isterseniz de üniversite mezunuysanız bir kariyer programına gitmek için sözü Gregory Bey'e aktarıyorum. Microphone is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Onur, and good afternoon, or I think it's late afternoon in Turkey. So thank you, everybody, for joining. My name is Gregory Pokorny, Manager of International Marketing and Recruitment at Langara College, and it's a great pleasure to tune in here very early in the morning in Vancouver. It's just after 6 a.m., but happy to be here and happy to give a brief presentation, and I think we'll have some time at the end of the presentation. Feel free to ask your questions during the presentation I believe there's a question, a Q&A box or chat box, and Onur will look at some of those and then we can discuss those questions at the end of the presentation. So I'll get started, and once again, it's happy to be here, and I'll start the presentation on Langara College. So just briefly, so of course we are in Canada, and we just had an election 2 days ago, and population is just under 38 million, and median age just over 40, and with the 10th largest GDP in the world. It's made up of 10 provinces and 3 territories. And Langara is located in Vancouver. You can see on the star there on the west coast in the province called BC, or British Columbia. So here we are in Vancouver. It's Canada's 3rd largest metropolitan. Montreal is the 2nd biggest, and Vancouver. It's usually rated as one of the top cities in the world to live in. It does have a nickname as Hollywood North because so many of the motion pictures and filming of movies and TV and productions goes on in Vancouver. And very mild temperatures. So because of the location on the west coast, Canada does have the reputation as being a very cold country during the winter, but for Vancouver, because we're on the west coast, we probably have an average temperature of 0 to 5 degrees in the winter. So much milder compared to other parts of Canada. It's a very multicultural city. Over 20% of the people were born overseas. Median age in Vancouver, 42, and it does have one of the lowest unemployment rates in Canada, just under 5%. So this is kind of before the pandemic. Things have changed a little bit, but it traditionally has a very low unemployment rate, so lots of jobs for graduates. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Langara, but I wanted to just first talk about, we get a lot of questions about why somebody should consider college. And there are a few factors to consider, and some of these are listed here. So for example, choice of programs, choice of credential. There's a lot of flexibility in the study options for students, and sometimes students don't know what they really want to study when they finish high school. So There's a lot of flexibility. We have associate degrees, we have bachelor's degrees, we have career diplomas, we have ESL, EAP, and so on. Adaptability is another key factor. And when I'm talking about this, I'm basically talking about when students are coming from their home country, let's say they're coming from Turkey, and they're coming out of high school. Sometimes the post-secondary experience can be a little bit overwhelming, especially in another country. So at Langara, we do keep the class sizes relatively small. It's like 35 students or less. We do have a couple courses in the first year that may be 60 courses, 60 people, but majority of the class is 35 students or less. And for science classes in the science labs, it's usually like 25 students or less. Grades are another factor. And because Langara is a community college, it works on this open access policy. And that means the requirements not as strict. Now, some programs like engineering, they will look at the grades for science and so on like that. But majority of the programs, as long as you've graduated high school and you meet the English proficiency requirement, then you can gain admission to Langara. Another factor is course load. And I'm talking about how a student spreads their courses throughout the year. At Langara, we work on a tri-semester system, 3 semesters a year. So students can start in September, or they can start in January, or they can start in May. And students can take courses over those 3 semesters, or if they want, they can do more courses during 2 semesters and have 1 semester off break. So it just depends on the student, but you're able to spread your courses, and then you able to adapt easy and able to move forward. And the final factor is the investment. And when I'm talking about investment, I'm talking about the tuition fees, so more affordable than the big universities. And I'll talk about this in the next slide. So here's a tuition fee comparison just from about 1 year ago. And you can see there's some institutions listed here in British Columbia, and the tuition fee comparison between these institutions for international students. So this is a business program, and you can see for UBC, international students studying at UBC for business, they'll pay, from last year, they paid 51,000 Canadian a year in tuition fees. Simon & Fraser, just over 33,000. University of Victoria, 24,000. Same courses, because we have the university transfer system, the student will pay just under 19,000, so $18,762. So if the student is doing 1 year or 2 years at Langara and then transferring to, say, UBC or SFU to continue their bachelor's degree, for those 2 years, you can see that they're saving themselves quite a bit of money in their tuition fees. So that is another factor to consider. Okay, a few things about Langara. We are a public community college, and when I say public, that means government funded. Students are able to work part-time during their studies, and when you graduate from Langara with the credential, whether it be an associate degree, a career diploma, a post-degree diploma, you are eligible for the PGWP, Post-Grad Work Permit. Most of the programs at Langara are 2 years, so you're eligible for a 3-year post-grad work permit. We do have 1-year certificate courses. Keep in mind, if you do a 1-year certificate, then your PGWP eligibility matches that. It will be only for 1 year. But if you do 2 years, then you get an extra year. You get 3 years. Okay, so just a little bit of where we're located. This picture here is of the downtown. You can see the tall buildings. You can see the mountains to the north, and you can see the ocean. That is the downtown. And when I show you this next map, you can see where the downtown is and where Langara is relative to downtown. So you can see the downtown is near the top, and you can see the black line that's running north-south. And it goes from downtown all the way down to the bottom to the Vancouver airport. And about halfway down, you can see main campus. And that black line is the Canada line, or the SkyTrain line. So students can take that, and then they get off at the Langara 49th Avenue. You can see the picture there. It's very hard to get lost because the SkyTrain station is called Langara 49th. So you get off at Langara 49th and you walk 5 to 7 minutes and you're on the campus. So you can see it's very centrally located. It's only 17 minutes by SkyTrain to downtown, 15 minutes to the airport, 15 minutes by bus to UBC. Located in a very quiet residential area, very prime location, and very convenient and very accessible by public transportation. Okay, so just some facts about Langara. It is a fairly big college. We have about 23,000 is the annual enrollment. And on any given term, we have about 16,000 students, and about 1/3 of those students are international students, over 5,000 students, and they're coming from over 90 countries. So there's the kind of aerial view of the campus, and you can see there's the Langara Golf Course, which is kind of behind the campus. You can see all the houses. But that's the campus, and you can see, if you look at by the mountains, you can see the tall buildings there, and that's the downtown idea of, as I said, 17-minute SkyTrain ride to downtown. So it gives you an idea about the location. It's a very picturesque and very nice campus. Okay, just some facilities. There's the T building, technology, of course, library, gymnasium. We have the Langara Student Union. There's coffee shops, a cafeteria. There is a medical clinic on campus with rotating doctors and nurses. So that's very good, because that's very rare to have a doctor on campus. So if there's any medical issue or medical emergency, there's a medical clinic. Daycare as well. Okay, so I'm going to focus now a little bit getting into the resources for the students. And one of the important centers on campus is the Co-op and Career Development Center. And this center is important because this is a hub kind of for all the students. And there's an online job board for the students, that just for Langara students. There's many workshops that are held, tutorials, career fairs, job fairs, industry networking events, and peer-to-peer career leaders program, and so on. So why this is get used a lot is because many of the programs also at Langara do have co-op option. And when I talk about co-op, I'm talking about the work term. And in many of the programs, it's mandatory, or it could be optional, and it means full-time paid work in your area of study. So if you're studying business and you're in the co-op program, that means after 1 year, you will go on a co-op term for 4 months, 16 weeks. You'll work at a company, work for an organization, get paid for that. You get to apply your gained knowledge. You're getting real world Canadian work experience. You're developing your professional skills, and so on. You're not going to class. You're submitting a work term report in lieu of going to class. So that's what you do for 1 semester. And you're able to work your 20 hours a week if you have a part-time job as well during your studies. Okay, scholarships. So right now at Langara, we do, so we have the academic scholarships, and these are kind of for the current Langara students, full-time students. I have here that no entrance scholarship program, but there is one that's coming very soon. It's going to be announced probably in the next month or so. And it will be for entrance scholarship, and it won't be full scholarship. I can give you a little detail that it will start from September 2022, and it will be for $5,000. So almost covering 1 semester, and it will be based on high academic achievement. I cannot really say much more because it's not on the website. It's not announced yet, but if you're looking for September 2022, this could be an option for later. And we have these current scholarships that are posted every term in every department. Now, for accommodation, there is no dormitory, there is no residence on campus at Langara. All students stay off campus. They can, one option though for students is the Lingara Homestay, and that is where they live with a Canadian family. And it's maximum 2 students in a house. Each student will get their own private bedroom, and they share the facilities. So The Lingara Homestay department works for Langara. They work right next to our department. So they've been doing this for a long time. They do the homestay for Vancouver School District, Burnaby School District, and of course Langara College. But it's a good way for students to, be safe, live with the family, learn about the Canadian culture, practice English, explore Vancouver, and so on. Just to give you excuse me. Just to give you a price range for that, for the room and meals, it is $950 per month, including the meals and the room. So if this is an option, much later, you can let us know, and I put you in contact with the homestay department. They handle the application, they handle airport pickup and everything, and matching the family. So just one option to consider. Okay, we have a lot of support. It was virtual for the last year and a half, but now that we are back on campus, we still provide some online support, but now we are offering face-to-face. So for tutoring, counseling, personal, career, academic counseling, mental health. So right now we have it both kind of on campus, in person, and also online support. We do have athletics at Langara, so that means these are the sports team for Langara, and the three sports are basketball, soccer or football, and golf, and for male and female. And just one note about that, these are all student athletes. They're Langara students, and they're playing for the Langara team and playing against other institutions. If you are a member and you do make the team as a member of the athletic team, then there's a big reduction in your tuition as well. Okay, so let's turn our attention to the programs at Langara, and just a brief update about the pandemic. And so, like many other institutions across Canada, there was, last year there was a travel ban. Of course, that's been lifted now. Langara is listed on the IRCC website as one of the institutions approved for the COVID-19 readiness plan. That means students are allowed to come to Canada if they have a study permit for a program at Langara. The current semester that just started 2 weeks ago is now being delivered in person, face-to-face, and that was announced back in March. So we are now doing face-to-face classes. We do have some online component because some students haven't been able to travel out of their country, but there are students on campus, and there are students do have to wear masks, but we are delivering the courses face-to-face. Okay, so before I get into the programs, I just, we asked the question, where do you want to go, or what do you want to do? So it's an important question to ask, because that will, kind of steer you toward what program to take. So if you want to get a bachelor's degree, then, you could start with Langara and start with university transfer. Now, we do have a few bachelor's degrees for students, a Bachelor of Business Administration, a Bachelor of Science in Bioinformatics, and a Bachelor of Recreation Management. We have career 2-year programs. We have the post-degree program or postgraduate, which I'll talk about these. And then we have Langara English for academic purposes for those students that need to improve their English. So for the university transfer, this is open enrollment, regular studies, start at Langara and transfer the credits to complete their degree at the university. Langara is the largest transfer institution to UBC and one of the largest over the whole province as well. This shows the pathway. You start at Langara in year 1, and you can transfer after you've taken a minimum of 8 courses. But if you want to do a second year and get an associate degree, you can do a second year at Langara, then you're transferring to year 3. So if you're doing the adding up, it's 1 + 3, 1 year at Langara, 3 years at the university, or 2 years at Langara and then 2 years at the university. Keep in mind, you're not starting over when you transfer to university. So you transfer your credits and then you go on to complete your degree. Now, we do have other opportunities to transfer, not just within BC, but you can also transfer to other provinces in Canada. You can see some examples there: McGill, University of Toronto, Queens, and so on. And I think I can bring in Owner right now because he has some personal experience and after going to Langara. And Owner, why don't you tell everybody about your transfer, university transfer to York?
İlk başta ben de Langara mezunuyum dediğim gibi. BC Transfer Guide'dan aldığınız derslerin transfer olup olmadığına dair emin oluyorsunuz. Bu British Columbia eyaleti içindeki üniversitelerle eşleştirme yapabiliyor. İşte burada gördüğünüz gibi UBC, SFU, diğer bütün üniversiteler. BC'nin içindeki üniversiteye transfer oluyorsanız zaten çok kolay oluyor işlem. Eğer BC'nin dışında Ontario, Quebec başka bir yerde bir üniversiteye geçmek istiyorsanız genelde dersler çok belliyse transferi yapılıyor. Veya sizden detaylı ders tanımını istiyorlar. Ben de öyle yapmıştım. Ders tanımlarını print ettik. Onları gönderdim. Ben Toronto'da York Üniversitesi transfer oldum. Ve bütün dersleri transfer edebildim. 63 kredim vardı. 60 kredi transfer oldu. Zaten maksimum bir sınır var. Ve dediği gibi Gregor'un de herhangi bir böyle bir tekrardan başlamak gibi durum yok. 2 seneyi saydırıp 3. seneden devam etmiştim. Kolay bir işlem. Yani 3-5 saatini alır kişinin. BC'nin içinde zaten çok kolay. Önemli olan baştan dersleri doğru alın. Transfer olabiliyor mu BC'deki üniversitelere? Onlar çünkü genelde eyalet dışındakilere de rahat transfer oluyor. I explained, as you said.
Yeah, thank you, Owner.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so for the university transfer, I mean, there's a wide variety. I mean, you can see this, the slide here. I'm not going to read every program, but the 5 broad categories: arts and business, health, science and technology, humanities, social sciences. These are all areas where somebody could start at Langara, start in one of those programs, and then in BC and even across Canada, just having to submit your transcript and course outline. And then usually if there's been experience, then it's no issue to transfer your credits. I mentioned about the bachelor's degree. So this means you're doing all 4 years at Langara. You're not transferring. We have a Bachelor of Science in Bioinformatics. The Bachelor of Business Administration is a very popular program. It has 4 areas: accounting, marketing management, business management, and international business management. And we have a Bachelor of Recreation Management as well, that you start in a kind of associate degree and then ladder into that. For the career programs, these are more limited enrollment and more hands-on practical learning. So this means you're just doing a 2-year diploma, career diploma, and you're not transferring. You're maybe going to go into the workforce after. So these are kind of designed with the input of the community, also taking into account the local job market in Vancouver. And they're taught by very dedicated professors, instructors. And some programs are competitive, so limited seats. So we always tell the students to apply early. These are some of the 2-year diplomas in the business area. You can see journalism, kinesiology, early childhood education is a very popular program, criminology, and animation programs as well. We have 1-year certificates, as I mentioned. So internet web technology, film arts is very popular as well, foundation, social service worker, and so on. So keep in mind, though, the 1-year certificate equals 1-year post-grad work permit. Post-degree diploma. Now, normally people know this as postgraduate. We just call it Langara post-degree diploma, limited enrollment. The main requirement is you do need a bachelor's degree for all these programs. So if you're coming out of high school, these are not the programs for you. So this is for those students that already have a bachelor's degree. There could be some specific program requirements. Very practical education. There's a work term, and these are cohort based. And because of that, there's limited seats. So we always say apply early. We do open the registration 11 months before the intake. So the next intake is January 2022. Many of the PDD programs, all the PDD programs are full for January. So we're looking at May, and on October 1st, we will open the registration application period for September 2022 intake. So these are those post-degree diploma programs. You can see everything from business, admin, marketing, accounting, web and mobile app. Now, web and mobile app has two parts. There's two different programs. One is design stream and one is development stream. And so depending on if you're doing this, it depends if you're doing more front end or user interface, that would be on the design part. If it's more back end, the programming, that is the development part. Data analytics is popular, health safety, nursing practice in Canada, supply chain and logistics. Supply chain and logistics is a very popular program because the nature of Vancouver. Vancouver is a port city. It is one of the largest ports in North America with a lot of shipping and freight and cargo coming in and out of the port every day. So there is a big demand in this industry for those supply chain and logistic graduates. Now, I mentioned that, high school graduation, and for the PDD, we need the bachelor's degree, but the big other requirement is the language requirement, English language. So we divide the English language into different categories. You can see category 1, 2, or 3. Most of the programs at Langara fit into category 2 or category 3. So IELTS academic, it has to be academic, not general. General is not, IELTS general is not accepted. So IELTS academic 6.5, no bands lower than 6. TOEFL, you can see 88 or 80. And we are accepting Duolingo. Right now, it's through the May 2022 intake. That score that's needed for Duolingo is 110. We should have announcements soon about if Duolingo will be accepted for September 2022. I think it will be, but we're just waiting for official word about that. Now, for those students that don't meet the English requirement, we do have the LEAP program, Langara EAP. So you can start with LEAP, and for some of the programs, you can get provisional or conditional admission into regular studies programs. So it does depend on the program, but LEAP sessions are 7 weeks long. And there's 8 different levels. And once you can finish level 8, then you can go on to the regular studies. The Center for Entertainment Arts has the animation programs, visual effects, game design, game technology, and so on like that. You do need a portfolio for this. The Langara's affiliation with the Center for Entertainment Arts will go through till January 2022. And will be a Langara credential, but after that, from May 2022, September 2022, Center for Entertainment Arts will no longer be affiliated with Langara. So it would be best, if you want to go into those type of programs, to contact CEA directly. One note here about the high demand occupations in Vancouver. So I've listed a few of them here, everything from the business area, accounting, auditing, supply chain, which I mentioned earlier. There's a big demand for early childhood educators because of daycare and nursery, animation and film, huge industry in Vancouver, in BC, web and design and nursing. And the Ministry of Labor, they release an outlook every year, but for a 10-year window. And you can see this was released in 2019. But it's for 10 years. And so you can see the Ministry of Labor expects in British Columbia 861,000 new job openings. And for many of those jobs, they will require some credential. They will require a diploma or a bachelor's degree. So you can see there 77% will require some kind of credentials, diploma, certificate, bachelor's degree, apprenticeship, professional degree. So if you're coming to Vancouver, you're studying at Langara, or you're doing transfer, and you're then looking to maybe long-term to start your career, get a job after that, you're coming right in the middle of this window where there's going to be a lot of jobs expected. And most of those jobs will be in the Lower Mainland. You can see the green part at the bottom of the map. That is where Vancouver is located. And that's where most of those jobs will be located. Okay, so just get into how to apply to Langara and what you need. So you need successful completion of high school or university degree, and you must meet the English language requirement, and depending on the program, there could be additional program requirements. So you have to submit the proof of graduation, and you submit official transcripts. So your transcripts from Turkey, anything that's in Turkish has to be accompanied by a notarized English translation if it's not in English. And you have to submit your English language proficiency, either your IELTS, TRF, TOEFL score, Duolingo score sent from TOEFL or Duolingo directly to Langara, and the other possible additional requirements depending on the program. It could be a portfolio, it could be an interview, it could be a letter of intent, criminal background check, something like that. One note is for the official documents, proof of graduation, what we require is a scanned copy of these, and it has to be scanned in PDF format. I cannot stress this enough. No cell phone pictures, has to be scanned in PDF, nothing cut off, in color, and also the notarized English translations have to be scanned in PDF and also in color. So just make note of that as well. It has to be PDF. So document evaluation, I haven't updated this. It's a little bit, this is best case scenario would be 4 weeks, but right now it's a little bit backlogged. We're at a 6-week period, but once you meet all the requirements and once the assessment period is done, email offer letter is issued, and then you decide, okay, yeah, I want to apply to Langara, then you must pay an initial deposit of $6,000 Canadian. Once Langara receives that $6,000, then the official letter of acceptance is issued to you. Then you apply for the visa. And I think owner can probably talk about how that goes, but once you get the letter of acceptance, then you apply for the visa from within Turkey. So that is, and then, so once you get the visa, that $6,000 that you paid for your initial deposit then goes toward your first semester's tuition. After that, you pay as you go every semester. Once you register for your courses, you pay. So you do not have to pay upfront the full tuition fees. You just have to pay the $6,000 and then pay as you go. Okay, so I just wrap up here, and again, thank you for your attention, and then we can get into all the questions and more discussion. And so I've outlined here about why you could consider Langara. It is a public institution located in a great location in Vancouver, one of the most livable cities in the world. Largest transfer program in BC, one of the largest and the largest to UBC. Smaller class sizes I've talked about, lower tuition fees compared to the universities. A lot of different programs, diploma, certificate programs, career-focused training. Academic EAP is also on campus, and you're able to work off campus during your studies, 20 hours a week, and you're automatically eligible for the postgraduate work permit, PGWP, upon completion of your Langara program. So that is my contact information. So my email, gpicorni@langara.ca. My marketing assistant, she's on vacation until tomorrow, but her name is Somas Marabani. Her email there, smarabani@langara.ca. You can feel free to follow all the social media channels like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on. And yeah, I'll just stop there, and then I think take it to the next part. Yeah, there you are, owner. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So yeah. So again, thank you everybody for listening. And I think I don't know, owner, if there's some questions or something that we can discuss.
Some questions. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just writing my contact as well. You want me to write yours if you like? Based on
where's the oh, you're just putting in the chat box, right?
Yes, I am. And I have your email address. Should I put Solmaz's as well?
Yeah, do you remember hers?
Yes, I do. 1 second. So I wrote yours, and now I'll put Solmaz. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, owner. Okay, so let's get into some questions and answers and some discussion, and then anything that you want to explain in Turkish, that's fine as well, owner. So,
Zeynep Hanım, ilk soru en altta mı?
Evet Onur Bey.
İlk soru, okay. GMAT veya akademik ortalama şartı var mıdır başvuru için? You don't require GMAT, but he's asking if there's a certain specific GPA requirement for some programs. There are, I think, right?
Yeah, only for, like as I mentioned briefly in my presentation,
Yeah.
for engineering especially, we have a diploma in applied science and engineering. They will look at the grades they look at their grades for physics, chemistry, math. There's a required grade, and then of course English. But as far as there's no like GPA requirement, so there's no like I can't say, oh, you need this certain GPA in Turkey or whatever. It doesn't. And for the post-degree diploma, only the post-degree diploma in data analytics it would be better to have a higher GPA. But as long as you've got your bachelor's degree and you meet the English requirement, then you can.
Post-degree in analytics, you said, right?
Data analytics.
Data analytics, okay. Data analizinin post-degree olan, yani üniversite mezunu olan bölümün programında yüksek bir skorunuz, GPA'niz olması önemli. Onun dışında mühendislikte matematik, fizik, kimya, İngilizce notlarınıza bakarlar. Spesifik bir ortalama yok gerekli olan. Ama onun dışında mühendislik programlarında biraz var. Onun dışında herhangi bir şu ortalama getirmeniz gerekiyor gibi bir şey yok. GMAT, GRE bunlar yok. There's no GMAT, GRE, I'm just explaining also.
Yeah.
He asked, 2 yıllık bir program, 3 yıllık GPA. Yes, for any 2-year any 2-year program, students are eligible for a postgraduate work permit.
Correct.
2 yıllık program için evet postgraduate work permit alabiliyorsunuz. Gerekli koşulları yerine getirirseniz. Bunlar da kurallara aykırı bir şey yapmadıysanız, 2 dönem ara vermediyseniz gibi, onlar tabii biraz daha göçmenlik ve vize işlemlerine alakalı sorular. Sonradan ulaşabilirsiniz. Bize de can we transfer credits from a Turkish university to Langara? It's quite...
Sorry, I just wanted to just mention in the chat box for everybody, I put the link to the program guide. Please, you can click on that link. That has all the programs for international students. It has the tuition fees. It has the intakes, the co-op or the work term options, and so on. So please, everybody, you can click on that. You can bookmark it. You can save it, and then you can refer to that as well. Sorry, owner. Continue.
That's okay. You just put a link. Am I mistaken? I missed it.
I put the link to the program guide
to the PDF, right? It opens
up
a PDF.
Well, yeah, it opens up a PDF. Yeah. But it goes. It just opens up to the website.
To the website. Okay.
And they can download.
Bir linke gönderecek o yazdığı yer. Şimdi chat box'ta yazdı. Oradan hangi programlar uluslararası öğrencilere açık, ona da önem gösterin. Çünkü bütün programlar açık olmuyor. Çoğunluğu oluyor ama. Hangi program, ne kadar ücret, ne kadar sene, postgrad mi, değil mi? Bütün hepsi yazılı bunların. Can we transfer credits from a Turkish university to Langara as well? Did we answer this question? Transfer credits? Can we transfer credits from a Turkish university to Langara? It's difficult.
Okay, so in that case, it is possible, but you basically, what I would recommend in that case is there is a credit transfer request form, and we would need the transcript. You would need your official course outline from your university in Turkey, and the syllabus. And that is submitted, and it takes 6 to 8 weeks. and there's no guarantee that the credits will be transferred. But there is a process for that.
It's after the student got accepted, and it could be before the start date of the program, right?
They could do it while they're applying, but if they're expecting to find out before, it may not happen. So that's what I'm saying. It's almost like
before they start.
Yeah.
The term. Before they start the term, it's possible to get that.
It's possible, but it does take some time, and there's no guarantee, as I mentioned.
And many programs want them to actually study the whole program without transferring anything as far as that. Bu transfer kredisiyle alakalı, yani Türkiye'deki bir üniversiteden kredinizi transfer etmek için ilk önce kabul edilmeniz lazım. Edildikten sonra da bütün dersin tanımı, syllabus dediği o. Ders tanımlarını göndereceksiniz. İşte transkriptinizi göndereceksiniz. 6 ile 8 hafta arası oluyor. Ve yine de bir garanti yok dedi. Bir de en son konuştuğum, onu da onayladı Gregor'un. Bazı programlar da kabul etmiyor. Yani bütün programı gelip bende okumak zorundasın diyorlar. Ona pek güvenmeyin bu, yani transfer kredi konusu çok şey değil. Yani belki bir ders, iki ders bazılarında olabilir. Do you offer computer science? What are the requirements to get in? You have some computer science.
Yeah, so we do have computer science, and we do have computer studies. Please refer to the program guide. Basically, as long as if you're coming out of high school, we just need the high school graduation, the English proficiency. That's all you need. If you're looking at like a web and mobile for the post-degree diploma, data analytics, that for post-degree, then there's some other requirements. You need a bachelor's degree. So, but just for undergrad computer science, you need high school graduation and English proficiency.
Some of them require like work experience or volunteer experience.
But not for undergrad.
Not for the undergrad, portfolio, things like that. But undergrad dediği, yani post degree olmayanlar, normal direkt post secondary olan bölümlerde belirli bir şey gerekmiyor. Lise diplomanız tabii ki dille alakalı vereceğiniz sertifika. Postgrad olan bazı bölümlerde işte bazıları gönüllü çalışma deneyimi istiyor. Portfolyo hazırlıyorsunuz. Bazılarında birkaç tane daha şey gerekliliği olabiliyor. Tabii üniversite mezunu olmanız gerekiyor. And they have to do a 4-year bachelor's, like not an associate's degree, right? Not a 2-year one for the postgrads. If they
Sorry, what's the question, Onur?
If they have an associate's degree from Turkey, a 2-year university degree, it's not enough to do postgrads. No, it has to be 4. They haven't asked, but that question came up before in previous webinars. Ve postgrad bölümlere başvurmak için 4 senelik mezun olmanız gerekiyor. 2 senelik üniversite yeterli olmuyor. Can they take English at Langara? Do you have partners? Yes and no. So they can take English at Langara, and you don't have partners.
Yeah, so we have the LEAP LEAP. So that means you can take English to upgrade your English up to a year. As I said, there's 8 levels. For partner language schools like ESL schools in Vancouver, we do not have any pathway with ILAC or ILSC. We don't have any pathway, but we do have ESL schools, and then they apply to Langara, but there's no automatic pathway. And don't mention the competitor owner in that case.
No. But I was just gonna say the 2 schools that you mentioned, they should pay you. They don't even have partnership with you. I mean, ILSC and ILAC you mentioned. Yes, it's true. Langara'nın kendi dil okul programı var. LEAP, yani bizim orada okuyan öğrencilerimiz var ve 8 tane seviyesi var. İlk gittiğinizde bir sınava tabi tutuluyorsunuz. Ona göre modül olarak geçebiliyorsunuz. There's also one important thing. They might think that they have to do 1 term or 2 or 3. No, they can do modules, right? 2 months. So they could do 6 months only, or 4 or 2.
Yeah, it would depend what level their English, what they're starting at. If their English is high enough, they may not. They may start at level 6 or something like that, and then they only need to do 2 months or 4 months or something like that, right? So just
money-wise,
okay.
It's important that they don't have to do multiples of 4. They can do multiples of 2 months modules.
Yeah, that's right.
Yani 2'şer aylık modülleri var. Onları tek tek alabiliyorsunuz. 2 ay, 4 ay, 6 ay, 8 ay seviyenize göre. Ve emin olun size faydası da oluyor bunun. And I'm guessing college ESL is a little more quality. I mean, it's a little higher academically than ESL school.
Well, that's the thing. It's called EAP, English for Academic Purposes. So it's not just free talking conversation. You're actually, you're basically you're learning to do research. You're learning to write an essay. You're learning, it's for academic purposes. So basically, yeah, and it's intense. It's semi-intensive too, right? So it's every day, 4 hours a day at least. So, and there's homework on top of that. So, yeah.
To make it cost effective, I know ESL schools do a lot of, free this, talk, run, come back, right? Yours is more, yes, correct. Bahsettiği önemli bir konu var. Dil okullarında tabii gramer eğitimi alıyorsunuz sabahları ama öğlen çok fazla elektif dersler var işte. Beraber birinizle konuşun, yazı yazın, işte şehri gezin, bize açıklayın gibi şeyler. Bizim programımız direkt akademik amaçlı, yani ismi üzerinde diyor. EAP, English for Academic Purposes, yani akademik akademik ne diyeyim, sebepler için mi, amaç için edinilen İngilizce eğitimi, daha kaliteli bir İngilizce eğitim veriyoruz diyor. Credit transfer limits, can we transfer? We explained this.
You cannot, can we transfer all? Like there is some limit. It will depend, but you have to do at least, I believe, at least half of the program at Langara. So you cannot, I think it's because this becomes a issue for the work permit after. So you have to do at least half the program at Langara.
That's important. Sorry, you're right. Even if they are able to transfer credits, because at the end, if they end up doing only 30 credits, like 1 year work, they're not going to get a 3-year work permit after a 2-year diploma program. I should explain that in Turkish. Transfer kredisi gerçekten zor bir işlem. En azından yarısını programın okulda yapmanız gerekiyor. Okulun kuralı gereği. Ben de Langara mezunuyum. Artı bazı bölümler hiç kabul etmiyor. Fakat günün sonunda diyelim ki 2 tane ders transfer ettiniz. Tamam, paradan ve zamandan tasarruf ediyorsunuz. Ama diploma programındaki 60 kredi yerine 54 kredi bitirdiğinizde siz okuma sonrası çalışma iznine başvurduğunuzda hükümet sen ama tam 60 kredi bitirmemişsin Kanada'da, onun için sana vermiyoruz bunu, sadece 1 senelik veriyoruz diyebiliyor. Yani bir yerden kar ediyorsunuz ama diğer yerden daha önemli bir şeyi kaçırabilirsiniz. Even if they transfer 2 credits, like 2 courses, 6 credits, they might lose on that 3-year work permit, and they might end up with a 1-year one. It's important.
Well, I can't really comment on that, but there's something that they should consider. They should think about.
Average cost of living. How much are you paying for stuff, Gregory? You live in that. I used to live a long time ago.
Okay, so I mean, this question is quite subjective. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Vancouver is not it's not a cheap city. It is a expensive city to live in. But this is more to do with the real estate. So that's what makes it quite expensive. But for average cost of living, I mean, everybody's different, right? So some students live very luxurious and some are very frugal, and so it just depends on the student, right? So that's why I would say about 80% of the students at Langara are working part-time during their studies just to make some pocket money and to help them with their living expenses. So I don't know what to say. I mean, it's if you're looking at I mentioned about the homestay cost $950, including meals and room, but you need money for if you're going out or if you're going traveling a lot for public transportation or something like that. There's additional money, right? So it just depends, I think, on the individual. I don't know how you can explain that, but
it's subjective. You're right. I'll do the Turkish version. Homestay'den bahsetti. Aylık yaklaşık $950 gibi masrafınız olabilir. 3 öğün yemekli bir ayda kalırsınız. Bu biraz az, biraz fazla olabilir. Gerçi çok az olmaz kolay. Ama bunun dışında dışarı çıkarsınız, yemek yersiniz, sinemaya gidersiniz, ulaşımdır. Okulun kendisi, alışveriş ne yaparsınız biraz kişiye bağlı olarak değişebilecek bir şey ama Vancouver ucuz bir şehir değil. Onu açıkladı. O doğru. Evet, çok ucuz değil. Güzel bir haber ama yabancılara, yani Kanada vatandaşı olmayanlara ev alımı ile ilgili bir 2-3 senelik bir yasak gelecek. Bu da ciddi anlamda, bir de evleri alıp boş tutanlara uygulanan vergiler yükselecek. Bu da emlak fiyatlarını, sizin için aslında önemli, yabancı, siz Kanadalı olmanız önemli değil bu durumda. Kanadalı olmamanız aslında ayrıca size avantaj yine getirir. Kiralar düşer bu durumda biraz. I said there's going to be a ban for property ownership sales to foreign citizens, and there will be for 3 years, I think. Trudeau promised that if he does it really, and I think property taxes will go up for unused homes. This could, I think, lower the rent a bit in Vancouver.
Well, just be careful not to quote promises from politicians.
Yes, correct. You're
We
right.
usually end up breaking them. So, but anyway, I think there's those will take some time to come, to trickle down. But yeah, there could be some issue, some benefits or some cheaper rents and so on like that. But another thing to consider, especially for renting and stuff, because of the pandemic and not as many students coming to cities, there's more supply of places. So
Okay.
it's not that hard to find a place to live.
Politikacıların sözlerini söyleme genelde tutmazlar ama şu anda pandemiden ötürü da çok daha az öğrenci geliyor. Bu da tabii hani arz talep konusunda öğrencileri avantajlı hale getirmiş durumda. Yer bulunur diyor. Yer bulabilirsiniz ama genel olarak bilin yani. Vancouver çok ucuz bir şehir değil. Ona göre hazırlıklı olmanız lazım. Can they start programs in May? Can they apply now? Yeah.
So we're taking applications so the next 2 intakes are January and May. And of course, January is coming up. Right now we're almost at the end of September. So you have October, November, December. You need time for the assessment. You need time to apply for the visa. So January is getting kind of tight. So May, yes, definitely. Depends on the program. It really depends on the program. PDD programs, some of them are already getting full for May. Some are still available. It will depend. But undergraduate, they're fully open for May for sure.
Elif Hanım, Mayıs programlarının hepsi açık. Bazı postgraduate programlar kapanmış bile diyor. Hangi programla ilgileniyorsanız ona göre bakılabilir. Ama açıklar, yani başvurmanız gerekir anladığım kadarıyla. Can we take conditional letter of acceptance if we don't have enough IELTS or TOEFL scores?
So
So
if you see the program guide that I sent the link to, if you check that program guide, there is a column for conditional admission. If you see the yes or a Y, that means yes, you can start with LEAP to improve your English. Then you can get a conditional letter of admission for LEAP plus regular studies. So it is possible, but not for every program.
Her program için şartlı kabul mümkün değil. Şartlı kabul mümkünse Langara'nın kendi dil okuluna kaydolup o şekilde gidebiliyorsunuz. And they should also know when they apply, you do give them, I think, a few weeks or a month or 2 months to submit an IELTS or TOEFL or Duolingo score, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Bir de başvurduktan sonra size birkaç hafta ya da 1 ay, 2 ay gibi süre veriyorlar. IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo'dan hangisini isterseniz onun skorunu vermek için. Do you still accept Duolingo for a while, for a year maybe?
Right now it's through May 2022. There's going to be an announcement about the September 2022 soon, I hope, but it's not official. But for May, yes, 110.
Duolingo sınavı IELTS ve TOEFL'dan daha kolay, evde yapılan bir sınav ve 110 kabul ediyorlar. Ocak ve Mayıs için kesinlikle kabul ediliyor. Eylül 2022 için şu anda belli değil. Edilebilir, edilmeyebilir sonradan. En kolay sınav o diye söyleniyor. Which programs do Turkish students prefer mostly? It varies. I have lots of students. You can tell maybe.
Well, I think I know I've seen a lot of applications for some of the business programs, also science, and I've seen it for diploma programs like early childhood education, social service worker. So I think it just depends on the individual. Even I saw Turkish for fine arts. So yeah, I guess everybody's different, right? So.
Ya birçok bölümden bahsetti gördüğünüz gibi. Benim gördüğüm genelde supply chain'e çok tedarik zincirine başvuran çok var. Muhasebe var. Psikoloji okuyan var. Mühendislik transferini okuyanlar çok var. Science okuyan çok var. Biyolojidir vesairedir. Yani değişiyor diyor. O da bir sürü programdan bahsetti. Supply chain for May, is it open?
No, it's not. It's already, there is a wait list that was just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it got full, and there's a wait list, but I wouldn't guarantee.
I always tell students, I say, don't wait for months and months. Things get full very quickly, especially if they're in demand. Yes.
And especially supply chain, it's one of the most sought after post-degree diplomas because of Vancouver being it's a big industry here. It's a high demand for those graduates. So.
Bu tedarik zinciri supply chain programı çok talep görüyor. Çünkü büyük bir liman şehri olduğu için mezun olanlar da rahat iş buluyor. Çok fazla talep var diyor işverenlerden. Hızlı davranmak gerekiyor. What is category 1 that IELTS is not accepted? What is category 1 that I do not understand?
Okay. Yeah, I can answer some of these quickly. I think for category 1, for the English requirement, that means IELTS is not accepted for that. So you have to go into, basically for those programs, you're starting with the associate degrees. It's category 3. So do not really worry about that. You just have to go into basically associate degree category 3.
Can your college help students find a job?
Well, we do have the Career Development Center, and that there's an online job board. They will not find the job for the students, but they will give all the resources. They will give, all the, like people can check the job board. They're not going to find the job for the student, but they will support with all the resources for the students to help them find a job. Yes.
Bir kariyer departmanı var. Öğrenciye iş bulmazlar ama iş bulması için gerekli tüm kaynakları sunarlar ve iş aramakla ilgili, görüşmelerle ilgili yardımcı oluyorlar. CV hazırlamakla ilgili. Age limit, no. There's no age limit, I think.
No, and no age limit. Minimum wage or minimum age has to be, of course, graduate high school. So I think it's normally 17, 18 the students are when they're graduating. As far as how old you can be, Langara doesn't care as long as you meet the requirement, but just keep in mind that there could be an issue when you apply for your visa. But that's another.
Yaş sınırı yok, bir üst yaş sınırı ama tabii anlattığı gibi vizeye başvurusunda bulunurken yaşınız yani 20 ya da 25 değil de 45 ise biraz daha ikna edici bir açıklama yapmanız gerekir. Vize başvurusunda biraz daha zorlaşır ama imkansız değil. Benim 40 küsur yaşlarında bir sürü öğrencim oldu. There is no equivalent of postgraduate certificate or diploma in Turkey. Will this create a problem for our visa application? No. No, it's not relevant. I've done lots of applications.
I saw a question here about supply chain. That was for supply chain for May, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I said no, it's full. Right?
Okay. There's a question here about PTE.
Which one?
How is visa politics and is PTE score acceptable? No, Langara does not accept the PTE. So again, check the program guide. It has all the English tests. So IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, but not PTE. No.
Can you tell about assistantship programs at Langara University? I didn't understand, but maybe.
I think he might mean co-op, maybe, or
co-op. Yani staj programlarından bahsediyorsanız, there are programs with co-op that you have.
Yes.
Staj içeren bölümleri var. Bu chat'teki linkten girerseniz görebilirsiniz. The program guide that you sent that has all the
there's a column for work term and co-op, and if it's checked yes, that means it has that option.
And it could be at the end of the program or during the program, right?
Yes.
Gönderdiği program guide linkinde girerseniz oradan o linkten PDF'i de indirebilirsiniz. Orada programın co-op yani staj içerip içermediği yazıyor. O da son dönem olabilir ya da ikinci, üçüncü dönem olabilir. Değişiyor. PT Scoria explained, how is the pandemic situation in Vancouver? Online, on campus, in the new semester?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned something in my presentation, but so currently, I mean, we are the semester that just started a couple weeks ago, beginning of September. So we are on campus. Most of the courses are on campus. There is some online because some students cannot travel from their home country. So we do have some online, depends on the program. But I mean, students have to wear masks on campus, but they are having in-person classes. It's almost like a regular semester.
Bazı programlar online ama çoğu program şu anda kampüste ve gelecek dönemde tahminen ya daha çok kampüs eğitimine devam ederler. Yani online'lar azalır da. Çünkü bazı insanlar gelemiyor diye Kanada yaptıkları onu. Does the spouse get a work permit while studying at PDD? Well, this is a visa question, but
yeah, but definitely if you get the study permit and for Lingara, then a spouse can apply for the work permit. Yes,
and it doesn't matter if it's PDD or not. He's asking specifically PDD.
Yeah, doesn't matter, but I do suggest they check the Government of Canada website. They have a lot of information about that, how to apply for the spousal work permit.
Eşinizin çalışma izni alması ile ilgili hangi bölümü okuduğunuz önemli değil. İster lise sonrası, ister üniversite sonrası bölümler olabilir. 1, 2, 3 senelik, 4 senelik fark etmez. O konuyla ilgili bize danışabilirsiniz sonradan. One question that came in English, I'll just explain in Turkish briefly. Postgrad or diploma has no equivalency in Turkey. Is that a problem for visa? No. 1-2 senelik, 3 senelik bölümlerin Türkiye'de YÖK tarafından karşılığı yok ama bu sizin vize başvurunuzla ilgili herhangi bir sorun çıkarmaz. Alakası yok konuyla. What else? Accommodation facilities in local languages.
So as I said, there's no dormitory residence, but it's in a residential area. There's Vancouver is the third largest city, and I think owner, you live there, you know that there's quite a bit of housing. I mean, I don't think there's any really problem to find accommodations. It's just a matter of finding which one's best for you and meets your budget and so on.
Okulun yurdu yok ama konaklama için imkan çok. Öyle gerçekten de en azından homestay ilk geldiğinizde çok kolay ve mantıklı bir opsiyon. One person, I think he started watching maybe later on. He's asking, work experience, your GPA, are these, are these good for your scholarship application, maximum scholarship? You explained all of this before.
Well, just as I said, we're going to have an entrance scholarship. It's going to be announced. It's going to be up to $5,000, but it's not official. It's not on our website yet. I cannot really provide much more than that. The student will have to apply for that.
It's just academic excellence. It has nothing to do with your work experience. None of that he's asking.
No.
Akademik başarınız üzerine aldığınız tek burs var. Çalışma deneyiminiz vesaire hiçbir önemi yok. O da maksimum $5,000 ama onunla ilgili de çok yorum yapamam. Daha değil, resmileşmedi diyor. Can they work besides can they work besides college? He's asking university. Yes, up to 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week on campus, if I'm not mistaken.
And during semester breaks, they can work full time.
Full time as well. Okulun 4 aylık bir arası var. 2 dönem, 3 dönem programı olduğu için 2 dönemin sonunda bir dönem ara var. Bir de Noel tatilinde de 40 saat yine çalışabiliyorsunuz full time. Always Langara College. Oh, okay. You transferred from Langara to York, me. What's the difference between university and college? This could take another hour to explain. I can explain it if they call me one day. Yani isterseniz ben açıklayabilirim isteyen üniversiteyle kolej arasındaki değişikliği. But briefly, university is more theoretical education with 4-year programs. College is more hands-on, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year programs mostly. It's much cheaper, I think. It's much cheaper. Çok daha ucuz. 1-2-3 senelik daha pratik üzerine eğitimler var. Üniversite biraz daha teorik. 4 sene olması gerekiyor. Kolejde Ya yurt dışından gelen ve oraya bir adım atmak isteyen birisi için kolej çok doğru bir başlangıç. İster lise mezunu olun, ister de üniversite bitirmiş orada devamında kalmak istiyor olun. I just said for someone who's coming from abroad, whether you are a high school student, high school graduate or university graduate, college is a great start. If you want to transfer to university or you want to do a 1-2 year program to continue pursuing other things like immigration, etc., college is a good option, even if you're gonna go to university after.
Yeah, well, that's something that I try to explain for the university transfer section, that it's a good stepping stone for students to get used to Canada, get used to the education system, smaller class sizes. It's not so overwhelming. If your eventual goal is to get a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in Canada, I mean, it's a good place to start. I like to equate it like learning to swim, right? It's like you learn to swim in the shallow end or the deep end. College can be seen as the shallow end, and then later, and you transfer to university, then you're swimming in the deep end, and you're fine. You're used to it. So, yeah, it just does depend. But there's a lot of good options, and a lot of students do take advantage of the transfer system. So, yeah.
Yani sığ suda yüzmeyi öğrenmek gibi bir benzetme yaptı. Üniversiteye transfer de gerçekten kolay, onu söyleyeyim. Kitaplar, dersler, her şey. Yani bazen eğitmenler bile, yani okulda eğitim veren kişiler bile aynı oluyor. Hem kolejde hem üniversite eğitim veren kişiler var. Benim vardı yani bir profesörüm. UBC'de de ayrıca ders veriyordu. I said books, classes, everything is the same. Sometimes even professors are the same. I had one professor at Langara who was also teaching at UBC. Yeah, it's about the same thing, just in an easy environment.
Yeah. I think for the sake of time, because I do have to get ready, and I actually have to go to Langara today, so I have to get ready and go to work and catch the train. But I see a quick question about. There was something about environmental engineer and
advantages as an environmental engineer.
Yeah, I mean, really, I would suggest to this person, please research. Look, just even Google engineering in BC, engineering in Vancouver. There's a lot of sites. I've checked those sites before about, there's a lot of engineer work, construction. Environment is a big issue in BC, and we take it very seriously. So that's something I think that if you have that experience, then that could help you here.
I'm sending also a few job sites. They can check, what kind of jobs are sought for in Canada or in Vancouver specifically. They can check that.
Rules and scores for stay in university as professor. I don't quite understand that.
I mean, what should they do to stay at Langara? And I mean, he's maybe thinking that Langara is like a university. What should I do to stay and become an instructor at Langara? That's the one as well. That's who knows how. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you have your education, your work experience. Then there's plenty of jobs at Langara as well, so you apply to those. I mean, but you do need to get the work permit and so on. So this is more down the road, I think. Yeah.
And I just put 3 websites for them to search jobs: Workopolis, jobbank.gc.ca, and Indeed. They can check. Yeah, done.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to kind of rush off, but I do have to go to work. And Onur, thank you for all your explanation and your interpretation, translation in Turkish. And I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I don't know how many people joined today.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation, Gregory and Onur Bey. It was a really informative session for the participants. We believe it was also informative. And I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Langara College ile ilgili diğer sorularınızı chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adreslerinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Aynı zamanda sizi alttaki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz. Thank you very much again, you guys. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Can I just say one thing? I just want to mention that I will get the list of all the participants and I will send an email with this presentation and some other information. And then also Onur will send an email after in Turkish as well to follow up. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Onur. Thank you, Zeynep, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.